Welcome to Bob Cargill's Marketing Show, a ridiculously awesome podcast bursting with insightful commentaries and intriguing conversations on the topics and issues that are on the minds of marketers, advertisers, social media, and PR professionals today.
Hey everybody, this is Bob Cargill of Bob Cargill's Marketing Show, and I'm coming to you today from out of office here in Hudson, Massachusetts, a ridiculously awesome co-working space. I've talked to you from here before, but I've not talked to you from here before with Jeff Copetas. Jeff is my guest today. Jeff is also in marketing. What a coincidence, Jeff. And that's why we invited him to appear on Bob Cargill's Marketing Show. Jeff and I have known each other a little bit for a few years, and I say a little bit because I met Jeff at the Sudbury Social Tweet Up, a group that meets in Sudbury once a month that I co-founded with Phil Hollows and now host. And we've been doing that for 8 years. And Jeff came to a bunch of them a few years ago. That's how we first met, and we've stayed in touch ever since. Enough with me talking. Let's hear from Jeff. Jeff, tell everybody about yourself, a little bit about your background and how you came to be where you are in marketing today.
Sure thing. First off, thanks for having me. Very excited to be here. I would say, you know, when I answer that question, tell me about yourself, it always sort of starts, especially when I talk about career, it starts when I was a little kid, and I always would watch my dad get up in the morning and put a suit and tie on and go to work. And I always thought to myself, because I'd never liked wearing ties, I always thought to myself, I'm never going to wear a tie when I go to work. And
have you gotten away with that?
I have gotten away with that, yes. Other than like large business meetings, which occasionally I'll put a tie on.
We were talking before we turned on the microphone that I'm older than you. 11 years older. Well, we don't say our ages, but that 11 years I think makes the difference in who wore a tie early in their career or not. Because I, for the first 10, 15 years of my career, tie every day.
Up.
Yeah, always. So I'm very used to it. I had to force myself to start dressing casual once the no tie days hit, which is around, I guess, when you entered the workforce.
Yeah, I think when I was a kid, I had to put the tie on for some reason, and it always like made my neck itch or whatever. And I always like said to myself when my dad would leave for work, I hope I never have to wear a tie. And so I've never had to wear a tie, although wearing a tie in general has sort of fallen off the map a little bit.
It has.
But I guess my point is when I answer the question, tell me about yourself, it's always been in the back of my mind to do work that you're interested in, to do work that you find topics that interest you. So I have spent my career in the search engine business. I've spent my career running e-commerce and social media and marketing for a hockey equipment retailer. And now I spent time in the music business, working for record labels. I ran my own record label for a little while in Boston in the 90s. And now, for the past couple of years, I've been with Avid Technology, where I'm currently the Senior Director of Web and E-commerce there. So all of these things have a common theme running through them, and it's stuff I like to do outside of work. I'm a huge music fan. I'm a huge hockey fan. I am also, an amateur video editor. So all of these things are things that I have ended up doing professionally.
I applaud you, Jeff, for being able to marry your interest with your career, and kudos to your dad, it sounds like, in a backhanded kind of way, for inspiring you to do what you love. My dad, the same. I mean, I saw him, for 36 years. He worked at Dean Junior College in Franklin as a professor, and he would put on the suit every day, and the routine of going to work every day, like that generation did. And as I say, I'm a little older than you, so I wore the suit for many years, and had to almost, like I say, force myself to dress down once everybody went corporate casual, and nowadays even casual, period.
Yeah, so my dad was a part of that transition, because he was wearing suit and tie up until like late 80s, early 90s.
Yep, there
and
you
then
go.
That's when the transition happened.
There you
so
go.
I think he was just as happy as I was to not have to wear a suit and tie every day. I don't think it was what he wanted,
But we are working as hard, or maybe even harder than the generation before us in terms of hours we put in, never mind how we dress.
Yeah, for sure.
Am I
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Tell me, if you don't mind, what exactly a senior director of web and e-commerce does at Avid Technology.
Yeah, so at Avid, it's really, I'm overseeing sort of 3 different subgroups within that division. And the first one is the web production group, and that's basically the group that is making any updates to the website at all. So building pages, changing pages, updating pages, anything to do with creating web pages on the site. So, when we talk about marketing, we talk about making sure that we have best practices around landing pages. We talk about A/B testing. We talk about all of the things that are associated with best practices around web pages, depending on your goal, right? If you're filling out a form, if you're trying to convert to a transaction, all of that stuff falls under the web production team. They're the ones that are they're the mechanics that are basically making the car run. So I oversee the web production team. I oversee the e-commerce team, which means driving conversion rate, hitting our number every quarter. We're a public company, so that's very, very important.
It's a huge deal, yes.
So, I'm in charge of all the business forecasting, all the budget planning, making sure that we're hitting our targets and coming in on budget while doing that. So that's the second arm. And the third arm of that is paid media. So that means we have a person who does paid search. We also have an agency that we work with, and then there's also an internal SEO person. So all of that stuff falls under my group.
That's a lot. That's very impressive. Kudos to you, man.
Thanks.
No, that is
a lot.
terrific.
You talk about like we're working a lot of hours.
Yeah, well, I know.
Yeah.
It has to be a lot of hours.
Yeah.
Versus the hours I put in early in my career. I mean, I always was one to work later than others. But what I did, I was just a copywriter. And as my career evolved, especially in the last 10, 15 years, we nowadays in marketing you can't just specialize in one thing. I mean, I've had to learn so many different things. I'm far from just a writer nowadays, and that's what marketing today is all about. We have to be both left brain and right brain.
You have to be versatile.
Yeah.
And that's here's the thing. When we talk about my current job, it rarely feels like work. Because it's something I'm incredibly interested in, right? I'm a total nerd when it comes to numbers and testing and making sure that we are putting out the best possible performance of our pages or the best possible performance of our revenue each quarter. But the other part of me, the left brain side, is a person who tries to inject creative into everything that I do.
Yep.
And that and sometimes that means putting nice colors into an Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Right? It goes all the way down to that level. If I do spreadsheets, I want to make sure that they look good.
Perfect
right?
combination, best of both
worlds.
worlds.
That's where the creative part comes in. And then, on the side, not so much recently because I've been working so much lately, but throughout my whole life, I've built websites for friends. I always just try to keep the creative side of me active because I don't want to let that muscle atrophy.
I agree, and I think it's the right brain. It's the creative side, and the left brain is analytical.
Is it?
I'm quite sure, but I'm so right brain. Maybe I'm incorrect. but regardless, you are saying you are both right and left brain. And I think I've always said I'm strong on the right side. I believe that's the creative side.
Yeah.
And on the left side, maybe organizational, but not analytical.
Yeah.
And the analytical people I've always admired. And that you do need in today's marketing world. I am a direct marketer, so I will say numbers, everything's measured. That's critical. I know that, and I've dealt with that, and I've done reporting. I do a lot of social media. We count every possible metric, and you mentioned paid. Can I ask you mentioned paid search and in SEO you mentioned, but you didn't mention paid social media. Is that also under your aegis?
So any paid media. So
Gotcha.
I should have added it's search, it's retargeting, it's social media, all of the display.
Yep.
It's all paid media.
And just to properly, totally set the stage for this conversation, put everything in context, Avid Technology, because not everybody listening might know, does what?
Oh, yeah. So Avid
I should have asked that
Technology-
right off the bat.
Avid Technology is a pretty large company, actually. They are really what they're doing is they're creating tools that let creative people be creative. So there's really three areas. One is video editing, the other is sound recording, and the third is music notation. We do this. We have three very distinct audiences. It's all the way down to the guy in his basement who just wants to record his own music. Like he may use Pro Tools. That's it's really one of our foundational.
My son
products.
and my stepson both could be customers
They could be
of Avid.
Pro Tools users.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they are, but I'm saying hypothetically.
Yeah, so Pro Tools is the market leader in sound recording.
I had no idea.
It is used in almost every professional music studio there is.
Oh, so maybe my son. So
at the very least, he's heard of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to mention it to him next
Yeah.
time I talk to him this weekend.
Yeah.
So I get it, and you guys have been around because I've definitely seen the name Avid Technology.
It's been
Is it
around-
technology or technologies?
Avid Technology. Yeah.
Technology,
It's been around
yeah.
for 30 years, 30
Yeah.
plus years now. Large public company. If you've seen any Hollywood movies in the last 30 years, they're pretty much all cut on Avid's video editing.
You guys are
technology.
huge, man.
We're very large. Yeah.
Wow.
I should say we're large at the enterprise level and the professional level. And the reason why I was brought in a couple of years ago was to help them grow the direct-to-consumer business.
Love that. Okay.
Right. So that's what I was focused on at the very beginning of Avid, and then as time has gone on, they've given me additional responsibilities, and now I'm handling digital for enterprise and direct.
Because you're so good at what you do, Jeff.
I don't-
Yeah.
Well, when you're interested in what you do, I guess.
There you go. Combine
guess
your
it
love
shines
for
through.
music. It sounds like an awesome company. Everything I've heard about it, I've only heard positive things. So combine great company, your passion for that, and your knowledge of marketing, because you have been doing what you do for 20 approximate years. Is that
I feel like it's 20 something years.
Yeah, see, and I'm 30-something years, 35 plus years. Beyond the point of not being embarrassed to mention it, meaning a few years ago I used to not, people would caution, oh, don't admit how many years you've been in the business.
Oh,
I'm way beyond that, so now I'm proud of it.
I don't, there is, and I've experienced this too, there is definitely ageism happening out there.
Yes.
And
thank you for you mentioned it. I wasn't even going to use that word, but that is it. Ageism.
Nothing feels more powerless than like being able to interview for a job and feel like you could kill it, and then you hear that they've hired somebody, and then you look on LinkedIn and that somebody has had like one job for a year. And, they're fresh out of college. I get it. They're cheaper.
Yes.
Or maybe
There's a perception that they're digital natives. So, especially in my field specifically, we're both in marketing, but I'm all about social media lately, and it's all about technology, and there's a perception that only the digital natives, the millennials, know social media, and sure they've grown up with it, but they didn't necessarily grow up with marketing like people like you and me have. So I like to say I combine the best of both worlds, someone like you too, meaning we have the knowledge, the principles of marketing, plus we understand the technology.
Yeah. And so, not to crap on the millennials, we have them at Avid, and
of course,
they're fantastic.
Absolutely.
In their own way.
Yes.
They're great. But ageism is out there. I've experienced it. I think I know a lot of people who experience it, and that's a tough one to accept. But
I think it's going to change because everybody is living longer these days.
Yeah.
Not saving as much money. I hear the younger people especially, but I'll admit I'm one. I haven't saved much, a ton of money. And so we're healthier, living longer, working longer, and I think, the tide's going to turn. And I think it is starting to, where companies are realizing the benefits of having both, let's say my generation, baby boomers and millennials, put them together, and you got, you're complementing each other in terms of skills and experience levels.
Yeah. How long do you think you'll go?
No, thank you for asking that question. I say, still another 15 to 20 years. Now, that'll put me...
I'll get you to 50.
Thank you. I'll probably be one of the oldest active users of Twitter, and I'll be proud as heck of it. My brother says, Bob, when are you going to retire? I said, I love what I do too. It's not music or sports. It could be anything that I do. I just love communications.
Yeah.
So I look at this podcast. I do videos. That. I love connecting with people, and my plan is to package everything I've done over the years together to hopefully have kind of sort of what I'm doing now. Combination of writing, social media, podcasts, videos, blog.
That's what marketing is now. Marketing is not buy my product anymore. Marketing is like, let's have a conversation.
Yes.
Right? And let's get to a point where you trust us, or we trust each other, and let's try to figure out how, after we've established a level of trust and after we've had some conversations, now let's figure out how we can make your life easier with our products. Right? We're not there yet at Avid. We're not there yet. We're very good. I think we're very good at social media. But I'm not picking on Avid either. I think this is common amongst many businesses.
Absolutely, and especially I think the bigger businesses, because it's harder for them to move quickly and be nimble and agile, and so change takes time. But successful modern day companies, 30 years is not that old of a company, even though it's impressive. I think it's absolutely young enough, and it's in a hip industry where I'm sure it's in tune with the changes it needs to make as it goes forward.
There's definitely a lot of folks at Avid who say, look at the business we're in. We are in the business of movie making and music making, and we have a lot of rope to be really fun here, and it's all about like who you're talking to, right? So when we go out and put together marketing campaigns for our enterprise business, you have to talk to those people a lot differently than you do the Bobs who are recording music in their basement and want to use Pro Tools, right?
Yep.
You have a lot of rope to have a lot of fun with a group of people, and so we're hopefully heading in that direction. Where and I think about when I think about my own career, and I think about how you talk to people and how you present to people. I'll go back to I was talking about the role I had running marketing and social and e-com for a hockey retailer.
Yes.
We did almost, I'd say, 95% of our videos homegrown, holding a tripod free, holding a
like I do mine still.
Yeah. We would, and it was really freeform.
Yeah.
And we would take the camera out back behind our office and take videos of people shooting pucks at milk jugs, trying to explode them. We would everything we did was really, really homegrown. Like, we ended up doing some commercials with NHL players that I wrote and in some cases edited. So it was, it's really sort of bootstrapped back then. But what's interesting is, here we are, and I'm going to say 4, 5, 6 years later, those videos, all those sort of homegrown videos that, okay, maybe the production quality wasn't 100% perfect, but all those videos are, the top 20 videos in terms of views are still those videos.
Love that.
As opposed,
Yes.
and kudos to the company I worked for. They have definitely, in the last couple of years, have put together more polished videos, but they're not getting viewed as much.
Yep.
So again, not to crap on anybody, right? But it's all about the content.
Yep.
And I think in today's day and age, there is an absolute willingness for people to accept maybe less polish if it's more real.
Yep. I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah.
We are absolutely on the same page. I just put up a video this morning on LinkedIn that talks similar to what we're talking about. It certainly to where you said something like marketing is not buying my product anymore, not just saying that. It's about authenticity. It's about transparency. It's not about sell. It doesn't have to be about polish. And it also shouldn't be overwhelming the viewer or the listener, meaning
Right.
some marketers tend to feel hitting them over the head day in and day out with these
Right.
promotional messages. You see it on TV a lot
Yeah.
still. You see it, you hear it when you turn on the radio. Mainstream media still believes in that. And it may work, but less and less and more what works is what we're talking about. Again, I put one video up today on LinkedIn. I'm putting another one next week where I'd say the marketing and advertising business has to change because the younger people aren't buying in to.
They don't accept that.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
And what you said, everybody marketing and advertising should listen to, and that is it's all about the content, less polished, more real.
Yeah.
That's probably what's going to win.
I think so. I think it's what resonates with me, and I certainly admit that I'm not a terribly mainstream guy either. So maybe my lens is a little bit different color, but it's the stuff that's real and original and funny, and I am perfectly willing to sacrifice a little bit of production quality if whatever I'm watching or reading or experiencing moves me in some way.
I hope this podcast is an example. I hope the videos I do, and I'm sure everything you guys do at Avid Technology is reflective of what you're saying, and that is, the more real, the better.
Yeah.
And sure, big companies have bigger budgets, and they're going to be more likely to put more polish on the apple, if you will. I understand that. I've been working in big businesses off and on again during my career.
In a lot of cases, it's the right thing to do in some cases, right? Again, if you've got like a lot of enterprise customers, we sell, Avid sells to like multi-billion-dollar corporations.
Yeah.
And so that's not the place to put your less polished. I don't think Avid would ever put out anything that was less polished anyway.
Right.
But again, because Avid's such a big company and because our customer base is so vast, we have a lot of opportunity at the direct-to-consumer end to be really fun. Mm-hmm. And at the enterprise level, I do believe strongly that those, that approach should be a little more buttoned up, right?
Yep, I agree. Higher the value of what it is you're offering, the service or product. Yes, more buttoned up, more polished.
Yeah.
Over time, that could change too.
Doesn't mean you can't have fun.
Yes.
Right? It doesn't mean at all that you can't have fun. I find that things that are humorous are the one that's the stuff that I gravitate to, and that's just me. My favorite movie is Airplane. So
that's my wife and kids, one of their favorite movies. Yeah.
Right.
Now I get your sense of humor totally.
Yeah. So that's that's what I gravitate to, and I listen. I don't listen to. I never have been a listener of mainstream radio. I've always sort of found my own music.
Well, I listen to sports talk radio, and I'm a huge fan, but I'm really, really disappointed in the industry with the ads, the cacophony of ads, and how poor they are, and I think they disrespect the listener by thinking, we are going to put up with it, and we're not. I mean, their ratings have to be way down because we're moving to Sirius radio, satellite radio, and that I think is doesn't bode well for the industry.
Are you saying that you're turned off by the constant male pattern baldness commercials?
Oh, Jesus, on
And
sports talk
erectile
radio.
dysfunction?
Yes, it's embarrassingly
are they assuming that
annoying.
all of us are
Right, yeah. Bald and impotent.
Right.
There's the disrespect, there's the annoyance,
Yeah.
there's the repetitiveness
Yeah.
of these ads over and over.
Yeah.
So it's money being poured into these ads. Somebody's telling them, if you say this message every half hour, we have your audience,
Yeah.
and you'll eventually, get some of these people. And sure, it may work, but how many people is it driving away?
Yeah.
I put on a certain station in the morning on my smart speaker, and I get drowned out with 5 minutes of ads,
Yeah.
stupid ads,
Yeah.
that makes me just want to go listen to, some relaxing music station.
Or a podcast where
Or
you can learn something.
Yeah. Yeah. So the ads are terrible. And so we mentioned those ads on the radio. How about on TV? It's car ads and drugs now,
Yeah.
pharmaceutical.
Pharmaceutical.
And I was going to say, what did I say? Car ads and furniture.
Furniture. Yeah, cars, furniture, and pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
Are they going to ban pharmaceutical ads?
I thought they had been. I think we're going in the other direction.
You
Where
think
there's going to be
get
more and
worse?
more of them.
It's going to get worse?
I absolutely think it's going to
God.
get. Some people might say better if you like those ads. I don't like them.
You wanna
It
talk
makes
about-
everybody feel inferior. Everybody
Yeah.
feels sick. But you could say that they're helpful to the people who might have a certain ailment.
Yes, of course. I want people to not be sick. But you want to talk about ads that are not real. These pharmaceutical ads, with gleaming counters in a kitchen, or everybody's smiling faces, or the classic two people outside in their tub.
And it's like, oh Jesus.
This is like, you want to talk about like resonating with customers. Like, I've never been outside in a tub with my wife.
Yes.
I
know.
I don't wake up in the morning and have smiles on my face. And,
some brilliant creative team, again, they have
Yeah.
tons of money. So we are talking about companies and industries that have more money than they probably should have, and more time than they probably should have, and they know not what else to do
I know.
to sell their products.
I know.
So they need people like me and you to say, this is how you do a video, this is how you do a podcast, this is how you do an ad in today's day and age, and frankly cut the crap with these ridiculous ads that make your viewers and listeners feel dumb and inferior and sick and what have you.
But not to belittle or make light of people who are ill. But
No,
like
not at all.
My wife and I sit on the couch, and these commercials come on, and we laugh because it's so ridiculous and so fake, and it makes me hate the person, the company that's advertising.
You are right, folks. This is Jeff and I did not plan any of this, and I love this avenue we're going down because it's exactly how I feel. Anyone who hangs around me has heard this rant from me before, and I've now met someone who feels the exact same way.
Yeah.
It's in my next video that's coming out next week. It's like a 3-minute long video I did in Copley Square. Walked around because I am one who still does those raw videos. I walk around with my gimbal, my stabilizer. And I said something like, it undermines the credibility of the actors or the announcers or whoever, or the programming, the content, when they have these ridiculously insulting ads that are embarrassing to watch. If you have your kids around, family, you're watching a football game and they have those ads with the two people in the tub, and you get a big family watching the Patriots game. You get your mother. And
nobody in that room has been in a tub with their spouse outside.
Right. It's like insane. And so all that said, what would we do to fix it? I was saying, I think we should have more real, authentic, regular conversational type.
These companies have them, like you said, they have so much money.
Yeah.
You'd think that they'd be able to hire a recruiter who could go out and find somebody who has the vision to resonate with people.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, it really is stunning to me that they can't do that.
Do you know, without naming the product, there's one about, and again, when in no way belittling, because
yeah, we're picking on this, but it's for a good reason.
Yes,
like they're the
yes.
worst offenders.
It's about marketing. It's not about the
Exactly.
vertical itself, because the pharmaceutical industry helps people, and that could include me and you, who need occasionally medication, or maybe all our lives
That's
medication.
Another podcast entirely.
Yes. But there's one about stop smoking, and and it's a well-known actor, and he is talking about a stop smoking product. And someone told me there's a parody video about this ad. That's how. So we're not the only ones. So so it's like the marketers we are talking to need to realize that. So they're going to say, "Hey, this is working for us."
Yeah.
But would like to argue. I think it could work even better. And I'm also saying,
or prove it. How do you know that? How do you know it's working for you?
Well, they'll making millions probably.
Yeah.
But I'd also say at what expense? Because are you driving people away from, TV, away from the radio? And I think you are. I mean, we're going to Netflix. We're going to Amazon Prime. We're going to ad less. Don't know if that's a word. I just made it up. That could be my new book, The Adless Economy. Because we're willing, and I'm not saying me, because I'm a marketer, but put on my consumer hat, willing to pay extra so as not to be subjected to the surfeit of advertising.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
And this is two marketers talking, folks. So, but we think we have the solution. We want to do it better. We are doing it better in a friendly, interactive, permission-based way.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I don't know how else.
I'll throw you. I want to ask you who is doing it right, and I know Avid Technology is, and you and I individually are my clients are. But what's a big brand people could latch onto that, or radio station, or TV station, or anything that?
Oh, you put me on the spot.
No, I know.
Who does it right?
Is it that hard? Yeah, well, I'll let me think who does it right. I mean, I would say like some of the airlines, like a JetBlue.
JetBlue does a good job. Yeah.
Hotels, because I'm thinking social media. Kimpton Hotels on social media. Not that I've ever stayed at one of their hotels, but I hear and have seen.
Hotels.
You've stayed at one. Yeah, they're upscale, right? But kind of in a cool way.
Yeah. I would say they're more unique than upscale, but there is definitely I think they make you feel upscale.
See that? So that's branding. And I've heard they're good on social, meaning they'll respond to you, that kind of thing.
Yeah. No, there's a brand called Native.
Don't know Native.
That's the first brand as I've been thinking about your question. There's a brand called Native that comes to my mind immediately. And what I love about them is, so I got to tell you who they are first. They make all natural deodorants and body washes and other stuff.
Yep.
I'm not sure what else, but that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And when I first I heard about Native from a friend, word of mouth marketing, and I bought some of their deodorant. They have interesting scents, so I thought, let's try this. Let's try Native. And I bought Native, and the minute I bought something, I got the order confirmation email. And in my head is like, here it comes. Here's the receipt with the the line items and the thanks for shopping with us. But it turned out to be like 3 paragraphs of cleverly written copy that said, using good personalization, that said, and the first sentence was, "We were sitting around our offices when your order came in for," I forget what it was called, and we all jumped up in excitement and had a big party because you just bought blah, blah, blah.
Love that.
Yeah, just a super creative, cool approach that really resonated with me because I've got that sort of, that left of center sense of humor, and it just hit home. And ever since then, they've sent me other emails that are not invasive or like overly salesy. They're just cool. They're
So
just cool. And they,
even though you know that message went goes to everybody,
don't care.
but it made you feel
don't care.
Yeah.
Made me feel.
So they know their customer.
It made me smile.
Yeah,
you know?
and it wasn't conventional, wasn't typical. See, it wasn't talking down.
Right.
It wasn't unbelievable like
Yeah.
a lot of these ads, that
Right.
we're talking about when they say buy this car or
Yeah.
come to this furniture store or yeah.
Yep.
I thought so. My example, not you. We were both thinking of examples.
Yeah.
You came up with a great one, a brand. I'm gonna come up. I haven't told the story to a large group of people yet. I've told a few people individually, but and you may have saw it on Twitter. But Peter Frampton. the other day. Yeah.
He responded to
Yeah.
you.
So think like he's a big brand, and he
That's
is
huge.
Yeah. Isn't that?
Do you think it was
awesome?
him, or-
Yes, that's what my wife right away said. Yes, I absolutely believe it was you, Peter. If
I
you're
saw
listening.
that. Yeah, I saw that. That was
Because
cool.
I follow him on Instagram,
Yeah.
and I know, and I am a big fan, and I follow him closely enough to know he's got a big heart and he's a regular guy.
Yeah.
And absolutely it was him.
Yeah.
Now maybe one of his people, some of these celebrities have people who work
Sure.
with them,
Yeah.
but I think it was probably him.
I think
if it wasn't him, he had a guy right next to him who
I
said,
think
"Hey,
I don't think he's got a posse.
No, well, he might. He's pretty huge.
He is. Yeah.
But he saw my video, and I couldn't. So think of
Great.
him. Why I bring him up? Yeah, Peter Frampton. So I did a little video inspired by Peter Frampton, and it was "Come Alive" like Peter Frampton. And I was talking about you want to show your fans love and just do all you can do every day of your life. And Peter Frampton's a perfect example. Talent, but also great personality.
Yeah.
Loves what he does. Just like you, Jeff, loves what he does, and has done it forever.
Yeah.
And I'd like to think like me too. But
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say along those same lines, and this is not someone whose music I love, but Taylor Swift is a great example.
Yes, she is.
Of that.
Thank you for thinking of her. So I'll finish my Peter.
Yeah, sorry.
No, because she was on the news recently. But the fact that he got back to me, very personal, hashtag, and he retweeted it, thank you, Peter, for that. That's how brands and businesses should be. Not so above it all that they can't talk and listen to the average person.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift is another perfect example. Again, think of these two celebrities, Peter Frampton, musicians, rock and roll stars, and Taylor Swift as examples of she loves her fans. She invites them to special VIP things. She gets to know them.
Picks people on Twitter at random and has them come to her record release party or something.
So these furniture ads that I see on TV all the time, these car ads, these pharmaceutical ads, they're not sitting down. They may be doing focus groups, but I don't believe they really care what we think as long as it makes money for them. I think they're going off, because I've been in the ad business for a long time, taking a few months in some private island or private mansion and creatively brainstorming and throwing a shit ton of money at these campaigns. And the more money they put, the more they advertise these products and services. They know they're going to get a certain ROI, as opposed to really caring about your constituents. And I think in this day and age, long term, that's going to hurt them. They're not going to last forever. It's a quick buck versus being in touch with the times.
I can't remember a single brand of all those pharmaceutical commercials. I don't know any of the names. I mean, I think I'm not sure if the tub one was.
I
Viagra.
could name some of them.
I'm not sure if the tub one was Viagra.
It's
Maybe
Cialis,
it
I think.
Cialis.
Yeah.
That's the same thing? Or
Don't ask me.
I don't know.
It's the same product as the other one, Viagra and
about
Cialis.
If you're listening to this podcast,
but you are saying you're right. You don't know the difference.
Think about all of the pharmaceutical ads that you've been exposed to in the last 2 years. How many can you actually name? I bet it's under 5. I can't think of any.
No, I could probably name a few of them. I don't want to call them out, but your point is we're deluged with them to the point where the average person can't distinguish between them.
It doesn't resonate or connect.
And I think the average person is turned off by them.
Yes.
To the point where it's like, I'm turning off the TV.
Yeah.
You know, are they selling more product? Maybe because those ads, but I'm saying it's only because they have the money to advertise. So good for them.
Spray and pray.
There you go. Right? Yeah. And I don't think that's going to work in the future. So they're just thinking about what's going to work now, and I guess good for them. But I think they're hurting the industry because it's given, you know, advertising has a bad rap. I've been in the business my whole career. If you look at a list of least trusted industries, advertising and marketing is right up there at the top.
It's true.
And it's because of ads like the ones we're talking about.
Yeah.
Not the ones like from a Native or from a JetBlue or a Kimpton Hotels.
Right.
These are where they show they care.
Yeah.
Sure, they're all just trying to make a buck. We're trying to make a buck. You are, Jeff. I am.
Yep.
But at least appear as though you care about your audience.
Yeah.
And ideally, genuinely care.
We bring it back to marketing or internet marketing or social media marketing. This is where, you know, personalization really comes into play. I'm a big believer in, you know, personalize as much stuff as you can.
Yes.
Especially, you know, Facebook is as controversial as it's getting, is such a great place to target.
Yep.
You know.
Literally this morning for a client, I targeted an ad. I can't tell you the client or the service.
Yeah.
But I can say it was a nonprofit. It's a service that's highly important and needed, and we can target that post that I put up this morning to show to the exact audience that should see it and needs to see it.
Yes.
So as much as people complain about the data Facebook collects, as a marketer, that's brilliant and effective.
It is.
And I'll say, instead of spending all that money on that pharmaceutical ad or that Cadillac ad or the furniture store ad, get on social media or whatever media you're using, but target it appropriately and talk to them like they're people.
Yeah, yeah. And I'll tell you a good story. When I, a couple of years ago, was in the job market, I utilized, again, like go back to whatever, it's left brain, right brain. Right brain is creative.
We're both going to look that up.
I'm
very
look
confident it's right brain. If I'm wrong, I'll be very embarrassed.
But here's an example of using the left and the right brain. I'm looking for a job, and I had in my head, I'd love to work for these companies, X, Y, Z, ABC. Right? So what I did was I created a Facebook business page for myself.
This is smart,
Jeff
folks.
Copetas.
Yep.
And I listed, you know, my work history, my successes, you know, posted a bunch of creative stuff that I'd done at each of these roles, and I targeted the ads to the companies that I wanted to work for. Just an experiment.
This is brilliant.
Just an experiment to see, like, well, maybe something will come of it. You know, so I targeted people who work in marketing for company Y, Z, A, B, C, or people who worked in e-commerce, or you know, all of the things I was interested in. And so it didn't get me a job, but it did get me an interview, which I thought was interesting.
Yes.
So that's an example, I think, of
It's
like
a great example.
You know, using both sides of your brain to come up with a good way to expose yourself if you're searching for a job.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
it's
interesting, and I think I may have written a blog post.
I feel like I remember this.
Yeah, yeah.
That might have gotten my attention. Either I read the blog post or we talked about it at one of those tweet-ups back in the day.
So, you know, again, a way to introduce creativity into something that is traditionally mundane and frustrating, right? Build yourself a business page.
I agree with that totally.
Buy some ads. It'll cost you $50 to target.
Well, I've always said in the last few years, as I get more and more irate at how my own colleagues in this industry, I think, are hurting the industry, is I take, and I'm very partial, you know, give me that, instead of spending all the money on a Super Bowl ad or on these ads that run 20 times a day, maybe 200 times a day from, you know, you listen to mainstream radio or watch mainstream TV, put it into social media or what could I do with that?
Yeah,
or word of mouth or events.
Yeah.
For nonprofits, events are becoming more and more popular. Like raising money through running a marathon or walkathons.
Yeah.
Or I'm just thinking of all the other ways they could expose their customers and prospects to their products and services. I have to mention car ads, just if you don't mind.
I don't mind.
Well, there's an ad.
I have thoughts on those too.
I think. And what's funny, you said, because I may do a video on this, and so I'm bursting the balloon, giving it away. I know it's Lincoln, but I thought it was Cadillac for a long time because I've always wanted to have a Cadillac. So the ad's got my attention.
Yeah.
It's Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, the Lincoln commercials. Yeah.
So but I'm telling you, I didn't know what it was, and he doesn't talk. And I know those ads and campaigns have been successful, and they've probably won tons of awards. God bless them, because they're my peers in the industry. So proud of them.
Yeah.
To me, I used to love Matthew McConaughey as an actor. I look at him entirely different now. So I think he's mailing it in, making tons of money, number one. Yeah. And number two, the ads are so unrealistic.
They are so unrealistic. It's the pharmaceutical ads all over again.
There's
really two kinds of car ads, right? There's the sort of smoky driving around in the city at night ads, right? That's the one. And then the second one are those like beautiful driving on the edge of a cliff car commercials, right? It very rarely deviates from that. There's
the balloons and walking around the busy dealership.
Yeah, okay.
Whereas if you've been into a dealership lately, they're never busy.
No. I've never seen balloons. So it's another industry that is ripe.
Yes.
For like some really either fun, like true real things that resonate.
The car industry, is brutal.
So bad.
You go through the buying process.
So
it's
bad.
like, what are we, in the 1960s?
I know.
You walk into an average car dealership, it's like you walked back in time.
Yeah, it's bad.
And you're treated as though you're back
bad.
in those days.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't have taken place back then, and absolutely, transform that industry yesterday.
Yes, I know. I agree.
We're having fun. I've done a lot of these podcasts. I'm getting very animated. I hope not over the top today. This is a great topic.
Yes.
What is our solution to wind things down, if you don't mind? To tie a bow on this package that we've constructed, for better or worse. What is our solution? I mean, we've kind of beat around the bush a little. We general, like how we do it. But if we had that $1 million budget and we were a pharmaceutical company or Lincoln or the furniture store that we hear on the air all the time.
Yeah.
Can I put you on the spot and ask you, or
cut the BS, right? In fact, I don't know if you've heard of RX bars. I think it's RX bars.
I do know what they are.
I think RX bars.
I like those. I don't know if I've seen their ads, though.
So RX bars are they're not granola bars so much as they are, I think, like some sort of health.
Yes.
They're some sort of bar.
Yeah, like a power bar, which I like also.
Bar.
It's that cross between a granola bar and a candy bar and real kind of chewy.
But here's what I love about the RX bars. They're pretty good, by the way.
Yes. They're very good if they're what the bars I'm thinking of.
I want to say it's like 18 or 20 point font on the front of the package. The like 4 ingredients.
Yeah, like raisin, almond, cranberry,
one egg, cashew.
Yeah.
And then the bottom line, I think, is always no BS.
Yeah.
And I love that. So that's a partial answer to your question, but I think the other answer to your question is, let's get a pharmaceutical company to show like what really happens. Like,
instead of making it such a fantasy,
be the pharmaceutical company that makes an ad that's not exactly like every other
pharmaceutical. Yeah, well, because they're probably all working with the same agencies who.
Yeah, like do something that makes people say, "Ah, shit, this happens to me every week," right?
Yeah.
Make the connection.
Show real people. Now, they may have regulations out there that probably you can't, God forbid, show real people, tell real stories.
Yeah.
So it's all this fantasy and glossed over like you're watching a Hallmark, movie or something.
Get real. That's
I
like,
agree. I agree.
feel like, for me, it's like make me laugh. That's very important to me.
Yep.
Every company can't do that.
No.
And like, give me something that I can identify with.
Yeah.
You know?
I say real people, not actors. I'm very tired of actors in commercials, actors doing voiceovers, and I'm saying, like, they need the money.
Yeah.
And like, oh, that makes that much of a difference, meaning you have an Oscar-winning actor,
Yeah.
Making how much to do this voiceover for an ad?
For Lincoln? Is it back to Lincoln?
No, because he's in person. But
Yeah.
there's definitely some Oscar-winning actors and actresses who do voiceovers, and I'm sure they make a ton of money. And I'm saying that's going to do that much better than if I were to read it or my wife were to read it. You know what I mean?
So, I'm going to play devil's advocate for a minute now on the Matthew McConaughey thing.
Well, it got my attention, right?
Let's pretend, it got your attention in not so great a way, but if that ad had been somebody who is equally attractive to some, that as Matthew McConaughey is, there's a lot of people think he's attractive.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't him, if it was somebody who just looked like him, or if it was just some good-looking guy driving a Lincoln, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
I know that.
Yeah. So something.
But it's manipulative.
And
listen,
it's a negative. It's negative. But do they care? Like, do they subscribe to the all publicity is good publicity? Or
yes, they do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a business. I mean, I've been in marketing forever. It's whatever works, frankly, as long as it's not lying.
Yeah.
But it's manipulative, and it's underestimating the intelligence of your audience.
Yes.
I'll tell you what if I saw my neighbor in that ad driving that car, I would be more jealous and more likely to and more impressed and do you know what I mean? Somebody like me. And I know that's also a theory in marketing, and I preach that. Because a lot of people believe if someone like you is telling you, it's more powerful than someone like Matthew McConaughey.
I totally agree.
Or that's all. And
be as real as possible, and if you can, personalize it. If you have the data to know me, then that makes your job a lot easier. So make it about me. Like, customers own it now. The brands don't own it anymore.
Right, I totally agree.
Customers own it.
And I think some brands, again, because of their power and
their money.
Yes, haven't maybe seen that yet,
Yeah.
but they will. Look at what has happened to retail, going out of business left and right.
Yep.
Look at certain industries, I don't know if I can name them, but retail in general is one.
Yep.
I think restaurants are, they don't last that long, the
Movie
average
theaters.
restaurant. They certainly have had to deal with change.
Yeah.
The music industry has had to deal with change.
Yeah.
I think some of these big companies, and I'm generalizing, but with all the money and might be in for some surprises in the future, as especially the younger generation. Because I'll speak for myself, two older guys kind of talking about this. Can you imagine if we were two guys in our 20s having this conversation? I guarantee most of this wouldn't even be on their radar because they don't even care. They don't watch what we watch. They don't listen to what we. I'm telling you, they're looking on YouTube. Yep. They're listening to podcasts. They're watching Netflix. They don't listen to ads.
They don't, and it's funny.
My kids do not.
I have 12-year-old twin boys at home, and I can't get them to watch a Netflix show with me because they are so dialed into YouTube.
Yeah.
They are going in right now. It's they're in a Hunger Games phase, but that will turn into something else. But it's all about YouTube.
Same with my kids as they were growing up, and still, both my boys, 23 and 20, and I've stepchildren, about 10 years old, the two stepchildren, and they've all grown up on the internet.
Yeah.
I feel like, obviously the last 20 years of my life, as most everybody, that's where we spend the bulk of our time.
Yeah.
That's what's changing everything, and I think what we're talking about is that the bigger companies are slower to change, but they will have to over time.
Yeah.
And I always feel funny kind of critiquing the industry in which I earn my livelihood, but it's because I care, and I feel like I have some better ideas, and I'm talking to someone who I think feels the same.
I do. Yes, you do it out of passion, not out of spite.
Not at all.
Yeah.
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 So, all that said, and that was a lot, Jeff. Jeff Copetas from Avid Technology. What haven't I covered? We should wind down soon. Is there anything else you want to say about yourself, about business? Any parting words of advice, predictions for the future? Totally open-ended. The floor is yours.
Gosh, we never got to as we've been talking, we never got to the way higher education markets their products. Which is maybe another podcast in its entirety. I can come back too. I think subscription models as a business is in some ways the wave of the future.
Yes, I agree with that.
And I come at that again from a little bit of a bias because at Avid we're in the process. I mean, at the direct-to-consumer level, the business, the unit that I run, it's almost entirely subscription. You're downloading Pro Tools and subscribing for a year or a monthly subscription or whatnot.
I agree that contracts and
So the recurring revenue, the sort of the laser sharp focus on churn and keeping people happy, and talk about the customer owning it. The customer can leave anytime they want on a subscription.
Yes.
So you have to keep them happy. They own the relationship.
It's accountability.
Yeah, it's accountability, exactly. So I live that every day. And
that's
so
brilliant, and kudos to Avid.
Yeah, so I think I think the subscription business. I mean, if you sit and think about it, you have Netflix. I subscribe to a toothbrush company. I get every 3 months. I get a new toothbrush.
I know that goes on. Yeah.
And so I think that
you are correct. We're now talking like two 20-year-olds because I think this is where things are going.
More people realize. More people are doing subscriptions than I think they really realize.
Yes.
I think about. I think I have like 10 different subscriptions to stuff.
Ironically, my first few jobs. Way back. My first job was at RCA Direct Marketing, the Record and Tape Club. Oh. And you would get record or tape every month. Yep. Unless you sent the card back that said, no, don't send it to me. So actually I said my first few jobs, my very first job, that was that. But as a consumer, I also remember book clubs. So these are subscription-based models way back in the day. Yep. And of course we could still subscribe to magazines and newspapers, but what you're talking about, I agree. So like a car, they could lock you in and you're going to drive a Lincoln for life or for 10 years. I mean, that's what leases are.
You can subscribe. No, there's now car subscriptions.
I did not know that. So I thought I was making that up.
No, Volvo and BMW, there's a few car companies now that you can subscribe to the car. You can subscribe to the brand, and you can drive. It's dependent on the certain car maker. I believe it's either Volvo or BMW. You can pay them X amount of dollars per month, and you can get whatever car you want for the weekend. Like if you're driving a 3 Series and you need to go somewhere with your family for the weekend,
that is awesome and brilliant.
They'll bring you an SUV. And
love that. I did not know that.
Yeah. So like the insurance and the service is all included in the subscription. You can drive whatever car you want. It's really expensive, but it's super cool.
Yeah.
Very
cool. Where we're going, we are kind of putting a bow on this because you made me think. So subscription is one solution. Content is another solution, meaning helpful, entertaining. You mentioned laughing, useful content marketing that is not shilling, if you will, that is not hitting people over the head with the aggressive, manipulative chicanery and more, or chicanery, however you pronounce that word. Tell me something that's helpful or entertain me or engage with me.
Yeah, exactly.
And make it worth my while, and then I'll buy. Don't try to tell me it's a limited time offer or there's a sale.
Exactly.
That's just so 1960s.
Let's go on a few dates first, and then I'll buy from
you. Yeah, courtship. Seth Godin would agree with us.
Yeah.
He used to talk about that, I think, in one of his books. But the idea of marketers and consumers, it's courtship.
Yes.
Yeah, permission-based marketing.
Exactly.
Anything else? Because this is going to be a good, healthy podcast, maybe my longest of the 70-something podcasts I've done. So kudos to you,
Thanks.
Jeff.
Thank you. No, I have nothing else. I'll come back.
I bet you do.
I definitely do. But
is that a Kansas City Royals hat?
This is an old Negro Leagues hat from like the 1920s.
That is
30s.
wicked cool.
Yeah,
but it's KC.
It is. It's a Kansas City team. Yeah.
Wow.
You know.
Wicked cool. Because the Royals are in town, I think, playing.
Oh, they are?
Playing the Reds. Oh, they were.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
No, they were. That's right. It's the Angels this weekend,
I
think. But the Royals, I think, were just in town. I was thinking Kansas City Royals. That's a wicked cool hat.
Thanks.
You're wearing a hockey T-shirt. I know you play hockey, and you're very athletic. And I am too. I'm just older than you, but you know I run.
I do.
Yeah. I just don't do contact sports anymore, like you do with hockey. This has been a contact discussion. We've been pretty hard and heavy on.
Very fun.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeff. That's a.
I'll come back anytime.
Love that. Folks, you have been listening to Jeff Copetas from Avid Technology and Bob Cargill from the Bob Cargill Marketing Show. Really happy that you tuned in today. We have talked for over 60 minutes. That's breaking a record for this podcast, Jeff. So thank you for the really good, interesting engagement regarding the state of marketing today and how Jeff Copetas and I would fix everything if you bring your budgets to us. So thanks, everybody, for listening. And this is Bob Cargill signing off till the next time. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll talk to you again soon.